Okay, Madam Clerk, let's go ahead and call to order the meeting of the Long Beach City Council. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Sendejas,
Present.
Vice Mayor Allen, Councilmember Duggan,
Here.
Councilman Supino,
Here.
Councilwoman Kerr, Councilwoman Saro,
Present.
Councilmember Uranga,
Presente.
Councilman Austin, Councilmember Ricks Odie,
Here.
Mayor Richardson. We have a quorum.
Thank you. We're going to go to Council Members Sendejas for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
Thank you. If everyone can join me for a moment of silence in honor of all that is happening around the country. Thank you. If you could, for those of you that can, if you could please stand and face the flag and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, folks. Well, welcome to tonight's Long Beach City Council meeting. It's April 16th. Our Vice Mayor and Councilmember Austin couldn't be with us this evening, so we have a limited number of members. We don't have a long agenda tonight, but let's not jinx it. We have 3 presentations. We're going to start with Denim Day with Long Beach Police Department. Thank you. You're recognized.
I'm sorry?
You are recognized.
Okay. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members. Sexual assault is an inexcusable violation that leaves a lifetime of scars on the victim. Society must rise up and not tolerate the intolerable. It's so very important to raise awareness for this issue and to fight against sexual assault and devastating effects that it leaves upon its victims. I'm Lee DeBrabander. I'm the commander of the Detective Division in the Long Beach Police Department. I stand here along with Chief of Police Wally Hebish, Deputy Chief Don Mock, and Commander Mike Solomita, and we are in support of supporting this worthy cause of Denim Day. At this time, I would like to introduce Sharon Wee from Interval Health. There you are.
Thank you, Commander. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. My name is Sharon Wee with Interval House. We are absolutely thrilled that Denim Day Long Beach continues to grow each and every year, really raising awareness about sexual assault to our Long Beach community. The increasing involvement of our city departments, community organizations, schools, faith-based organizations, and Long Beach residents has made Denim Day Long Beach something that we are very proud of. When we started Denim Day 20 years ago, thanks to the incredible leadership of our Long Beach Police Department, we never dreamed that we would be so welcomed by our community to talk about a subject that is so difficult to talk about. The ability for us to expand our awareness and having events at our local high schools and increasing awareness in that way and really helping our community change the way we respond to violence against women has been a huge, incredible success. Thank you for making Denim Day Long Beach such an important part of our city. This year, we are proud to once again be on site at Wilson High School, and thank you, Councilmember Duggan, for being able to join us this Thursday. And the student leaders at Wilson have really helped lead the charge for us making Denim Day the incredible support with our youth and our community. We are also very proud that for the 3rd year, we will also be at Jordan High School, where their Female Leadership Academy and Associated Student Body have also taken a huge ownership and leadership for making these awareness events happen. It is my honor now to introduce Ella Supernaw from Wilson High School and Jasmine Juarez from Jordan High School.
Good evening, city leaders. My name is Ellis Supernaw, and I'm the senior class treasurer of the Associated Student Body at Wilson High School. Since the pandemic, the past few years have been quite a challenge for so many of us youth. Especially because of this, student leaders at Wilson are so proud to continue hosting Denim Day Long Beach on our campus. Young people are at the highest risk for dating and sexual violence, and we feel it is extremely important to educate others on how to stop and prevent this violence. Thank you for your support on Denim Day and helping us to spread our message. This means so much to us to see our city leaders supporting our efforts. Thank you.
Hang on before we continue for a minute, because we recognize that last name. Councilman Supernal, you got anything you want to say real quick?
Well, first of all, thank you, Ella, for being here. And I don't think the dais saw your jersey. If you can turn around and show them real quickly there. Yeah, perfect. So thank you for being here.
Go forth.
Yeah. And so, Ella and her family, they're 4th District residents, but we're proud of you for being here tonight. In 2 months, we'll graduate from Wilson High School, and in the fall, be at UC Santa Barbara. So congratulations on all your successes. She is, Ella's my great niece, and her mom is in the audience here, Elaine. So thanks,
Right.
Thank you both for being here.
Welcome. Good job. All right, let's continue.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council members. My name is Jasmine Juarez, and I am the Secretary of the Female Leadership Academy at Jordan High School. Through the Associated Student Body and Female Leadership Academy leaders, in partnership with Interval House and Long Beach Police Department, we have used our passion and creativity to create a campaign that engages students in a powerful way for Denim Day and this month of April, which is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. While we engage our youth, we want to encourage everyone else in Long Beach to bring out your favorite pair of jeans on Wednesday, April 24th, and wear denim. Break the dress code as a symbol against rape, sexual assault, and violence towards women. Thank you for caring about our city's youth and helping us to stop violence in our community.
Thank you. All right, are there additional speakers? All right, well, we have some recognition for you, recognizing this tradition. How many years has it been going on? 20 years, you mentioned? It's 20 years this year. Let's hear it for the Long Beach Police Department and all of our community organizations for keeping up this tradition for the last 20 years. And we'll join you down there for a photo. Thank you.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3. There you go.
All right, thank you. We'll now have our monthly pet adoption. So we want to invite up Animal Care Services. They typically take a moment to set up. Let's help with the ropes.
Hello, hello, esteemed City Council members and Honorable Mayor. We're from Long Beach Animal Care Services. Today we are joined by our awesome volunteer, Patty, and our shelter pet of the month. So today, I want to introduce you to Ladybug, who just arrived at the shelter this month. She's about 30 pounds and 10 months old and can be described as a sweetie pie who enjoys cuddles from everyone. A fun fact about her is that we think she may be part dachshund, which explains her fun size. So she's probably half pit bull, half dachshund. You could see it in the back from her tail. She's dachshund, and in the front, she has like little furrowed eyebrows that looks like a dachshund as well. She's the perfect size if you live in an apartment. She's calm, friendly, and everyone had a blast hanging out with her backstage. So if you're looking for a loving companion who will bring endless joy to your life, look no further than Ladybug. All right, so vaccines play a crucial role in preventative health care, preventing our furry friends from various diseases. We have partnered with Camp Clinics again to host a low-cost vaccine clinic at our animal shelter. So listed here are our remaining April dates, so April 22nd and 26th and 29th. And at our shelter, the clinic offers a variety of vaccines, including those against rabies, as well as microchipping your animal. Vaccines are available for the first 60 dogs. Any resident can participate. You don't have to be a Long Beach resident. We just want your animal to be healthy. And all cats must be in a carrier and dogs on a leash. So we have some adoption events lined up. We have 2 events hosted in District 7's Councilman Uranga's for the next couple months. All adoption fees will be waived at the event, and information about spay-neuter vouchers, pet licensing, and pet laws will be provided. Our next event will be next month in May at Veterans Park. We also have our event on 4/20 at Pet Supplies Plus from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And you can meet all of our furry friends, including Ladybug, if she's there. She's a cutie, so she might be snatched up. And then lastly, here's our information if you want to adopt, volunteer, foster, or donate. Anything helps. Our shelter is open Wednesday through Sunday starting at 10 a.m. And you can find all of today's information and more on our website at longbeach.gov/ACS.
So Ladybug is ready to go. She's got a lot. Okay, she's caught on to some smell. She's very curious and very friendly. And I will say, I say it every month, but we have a perfect record. Every one of the pets that we bring in front of the city council for the pet adoption, they go home with a family. So we want to make sure that we keep up the streak, right? And we want Ladybug to have a family to go home to, correct? All right, so I think we might have to do some matchmaking over here. I saw a little, a little chemistry there. But if you would like to, give Ladybug a home, you're welcome to visit our website or contact us. All the information's up on the screen. And let's make sure that we continue to bat 1,000 as it relates to continuing to promote the incredible animals at our Long Beach shelter. Let's hear it for Animal Care Services.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll now have our final presentation on Cambodian Genocide Remembrance Day. Councilmember Sorrow.
Thank you, Mayor. As a child of genocide survivors from a refugee camp, it's my duty to remember and conduct this presentation. I do have laryngitis a bit, but today's so important that I had to be here to make sure we do this. I would like to begin by taking a moment of silence. I know we did earlier, but this time in honor of those who were lost during the Cambodian genocide and all wars. This year marks the 49th anniversary of the tragic events that unfolded during the Cambodian genocide, which lasted from 1975 to 1979 under the Khmer Rouge regime. For context, the Khmer Rouge seized control of the country and carried out a series of atrocities that lasted for 4 years. The Khmer Rouge regime inflicted unspeakable atrocities, including the execution of countless people, such as scholars, artists, doctors, monks, and forced them into labor, forced many into labor. We commemorate over 2 million lives lost to execution and starvation and honor the survivors of this dark chapter in history. You know, April we began as a joyous month, but it's also a month of great despair. And Long Beach stands as the largest Cambodian community in the U.S., a testament to the resilience and strength of the survivors and their descendants. Over the decades, Cambodian population have drawn from cultural history to rebuild their lives and community through participation in local government, establishing local and international businesses, developing new arts, community organization, raising families to contribute to diversity of our city. So this day provides an opportunity to reflect and pay respect to the victims who lost their lives to the genocidal regime. And it's also reason why we have the Cambodian American Cultural Center, the Killing Field Memorial Garden, is that the culture and tradition were almost lost forever due to that time. This evening, we will begin with a few of our speakers, Thierry Yin and Kinon Noon, who's from the Killing Field Memorial Center, and then Chad Fung will be speaking. And later on, we will have Venerable Sam Khan and Lokacha Panya to the podium, who will lead us into Smot, which is a traditional chant that's performed traditionally during Khmer funerals. And the translation of the Smot, which is on screen so that people can understand as we go through the Smot. So let's begin with our first speaker, Mr. Kano. No. Oh, for the playback, council member.
សូមជម្រាបសួរលោក ឆ្វ័យក្រុងនិងលោកស្រីអស់លោកជាចៅសង្កាត់ទាំងអស់សូមអរគុណដែលបានឲ្យខ្ញុំមានឱកាសមកជម្រាបរឿងពិតព្រោះខ្ញុំជាអ្នកឆ្លងកាត់របបវាលពិឃាតអស់រយៈពេល3ឆ្នាំ8ខែជាងចាប់ពី75ដល់79វាហួសពាក្យនឹងនិយាយរកថ្លៃព្រោះឃើញនឹងភ្នែកទៅពេលដែលគេចងមនុស្សទៅសម្លាប់បង្អត់បាមានតែបបោខ្លួនខ្ញុំផ្ទាល់វេទនាខ្ញុំរកនិយាយអីមិនរួចទេព្រោះពេលណាតែខ្ញុំហានិយាយមិននឹងទឹកភ្នែកខ្ញុំអត់ពីណាព្រោះភាពពិតវាឃើញច្បាស់នឹងភ្នែកពេកគេចេះគាត់ណាសូមជម្រាបអស់លោកស្រីថាសូមមេត្តាជួយឲ្យកើតមជ្ឈមណ្ឌលនឹងឡើងទៅដើម្បីឲ្យពួកខ្មែរយើងចំនួនក្រោយបានដឹងបានយល់ថាហេតុអ្វីបានមានវាលវិឃាតបានមានអីចឹងតមកដោយសាររឿងអីដោយសារតែរឿងកាប់សម្លាប់ហ្នឹងឯងបាទសូមអរគុណច្រើនបាទ
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Councils. I really appreciate the opportunity for me to speak the truth about the atrocities that happened back in 1975 all the way through 1979. It's really unspeakable. Every time we recollect this moment, I'm always traumatized, and this happens to everyone else who survivors of the regime, the genocidal regime of the Khmer Rouge. I can recollect the moment when people were starved to death or executed without any trials. We were deprived of our food. Every day we would only be given a very meager meal of rice porridge, like watery rice porridge. And there's a lot to talk about this, but I also would like the city councils and people involved to make sure that this stupa, like to commemorate the killing field, take place as soon as possible so that we can really educate young folks and the younger generation of the atrocity and make sure that this thing will never happen again. Thank you so much.
ជំរាបសួរលោកជាវាយក្រុងហើយនឹងចៅសង្កាត់ទាំងអស់ខ្ញុំបាទឈ្មោះ Theringen ខ្ញុំនឹងចង់និយាយពីជីវិតរបស់ខ្ញុំនៅក្នុងជំនាន់ខ្មែរក្រហមតាមពិតខ្ញុំជាទាហានម្នាក់នៅក្នុងសង្គមសាធារណរដ្ឋខ្ញុំជាទាហានប្រដេញហើយពេលខ្មែរក្រហមចូលមកខ្ញុំនៅទីក្រុងភ្នំពេញនៅក្នុងច្បារអំពៅ ហើយខ្ញុំបានរត់ចេញពីច្បារអំពៅទៅដល់ខេត្តកំពង់ស្ពឺហើយគេអត់ខ្ញុំធ្វើកងចល័តហើយគេបានសម្លាប់ពួកម៉ាក់ខ្ញុំម្នាក់ដែលជាទាហាននៅជាមួយគ្នាខ្ញុំភ័យពេកក៏ខ្ញុំរត់ចាកចេញពីកន្លែងមកកន្លែងមួយទៀតទៅដល់គេបញ្ជូនទៅដល់ខេត្តពោធិ៍សាត់ស្រុកកកគេបញ្ជូនខ្ញុំទៅដល់ស្រុកបំណក់កំរែងកន្លែងនោះកន្លែងគេសម្លាប់ទាហានដែរខ្ញុំក៏ជាប់នៅក្នុង ទាហានទាំងអស់នោះដែរប៉ុន្តែខ្ញុំរួចខ្លួនដោយសារខ្ញុំកុហកគេថាខ្ញុំមិនមែនជាទាហានទេខ្ញុំជាលោកសង្ឃហើយគេតាមដានខ្ញុំប្រហែលជាមួយអាទិត្យពីអាទិត្យដែលមុនគេឲ្យខ្ញុំរួចខ្លួនហើយតែពួកខ្ញុំទាំងអស់ហ្នឹងក៏ស្លាប់អស់ដែរភូមិបាលទាហានហ្នឹងគេដាក់ទាហានទាំងអស់នៅក្នុងឡានសេមសេហើយគេនាំគ្នាបាញ់ សងខាងដើម្បីសម្លាប់ក្រោយពីនោះមកខ្ញុំក៏ចាកចេញទៅនៅកងចល័តហើយគេធ្វើបាបទុកវេទនាសពបែបសពយ៉ាងដើម្បីរស់ខ្ញុំទៅកុហកភូតផលគេសពបែបសពយ៉ាងដើម្បីខ្ញុំរួចខ្លួនខ្ញុំមិនមែនអ្នកកុហកទេប៉ុន្តែខ្ញុំពូតផលដើម្បីខ្ញុំរួចខ្លួនដែរហើយពេលនោះគេបញ្ជូនខ្ញុំមកស្រុកកកវិញ ហើយបានគេចង់ក្រោយបន្តិចគេបញ្ជូនខ្ញុំមកដល់ស្វាយដង្កែវកន្លែងកងចល័តគេហៅថាកងចល័តកងបដិញ្ញាគឺធ្វើការដើម្បីបាក់របស់គេប៉ុន្តែនៅពេលនោះខ្ញុំក៏រួចខ្លួនដែរដោយសារ ខ្ញុំនៅតែចេះកុហកអញ្ចឹងអត់មិនថាមិនកុហកឲ្យកុហកដើម្បីរស់ហើយក្រោយពីនោះមកទៀតដល់ពេលយួនកងវៀតណាមចិត្តចូលខ្ញុំបានជំនះខ្ញុំទៅនៅស្រុកព្រៃលើខ្ញុំផ្លេចតែខ្ញុំអត់ស្គាល់ដែរទៅនៅនឹងហើយជា3ខែហើយគេបានសម្លាប់អ្នកពីរយប់នឹងចង់អស់ហើយនឹងអ្នកពីរយប់គេសម្លាប់ពួកនិរដីដែលខ្ញុំឃើញនឹងភ្នែករបស់ខ្ញុំប៉ុន្តែខ្ញុំ មិនដឹងធ្វើម៉េចដើម្បីរស់ខ្ញុំក៏មិនមើលតទៅទៀតខ្ញុំក៏កិច្ចមកស្វាយដង្កែវវិញអរគុណ
Honorable Mayor and City Council members, I also appreciate the opportunity for me to be able to tell you briefly about the truth of what happened during the Khmer Rouge regime. As a survivor, the real story behind how I could survive is how to kind of tell a lie to people. This is not really the nature of Cambodian folks, but this is the only way you can buy time by hiding your background and everything. I used to be a Khmer Republic soldier serving in the old regime, and when the Khmer Rouge came, Khmer Republican soldiers were the target for execution, and I witnessed a lot of execution of my fellow soldiers who were placed in a truck and then like shot or fired from different angles by the Khmer Rouge soldiers. However, I told them that I was not a soldier. I was a Buddhist monk. That's in my way of telling them so that I can survive. But I witnessed all these kind of executions. Life was so difficult. I kept moving to different places to the what we call mobile unit, and I kept telling a lie to everyone about my background, and so this is how I survived the regime. But again, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor Rex Richardson and City Council. My name is Chad Poong. I've been a resident of Long Beach for 43 years, and I'm one of the generation from 1.5 generation that see these atrocities happen to my family, people in my village, and the elders. So as a child, I grew up, during this era. I was about 6 or 7, and I didn't witness the execution of my father, but I saw my mom going through PTSD for 2-3 years after his execution. Of all the places that they executed him was at the temple that I pray with my grandfather. So my dad, he's my hero. And every day of my life, till now, I'm 52, I think about my dad every day. I look at him, because they executed him, I look at him as my hero. So every time, I go through obstacle as a refugee, as a resident of Long Beach, I think about him. I think of obstacle as challenges, not a wall to stop me from achieving my goals or my dreams, but to use that as a motivation to live on his legacy. And with that being said, so I look at the elders that do come here throughout the years that I watch living here in Long Beach for the last 43 years. They are the heroes. They survived some of the worst atrocities that had happened to them, whether starving them to death or just letting them write their manifesto and taking their lives because they spoke the truth, because they were asked to speak the truth. And with that being said, we need to practice democracy, speak our mind, come together, with the common things that we do have in common, but also respect and accept the differences that we have. We speak about it, that we respect it, because these are the things that they used against us to kill us, to annihilate us. And in 1979, we were like one of the last species, human race, the human Cambodians on Earth. There was only 1.9 of us left on the face of the earth. So I feel so blessed, being here at another country, making a name for myself, having the education, and being at a diverse country and also a diverse city, because Long Beach is known as an international city. So I want everybody to remember all the sacrifices, all the horrific stuff that we've gone through. But we came here with a dream to better our life, to educate. And to educate, we learn the history, we learn all the bad things that happened to us so we could make it better. And to make it better, we become role models. And I'm a father of 4, and I want to make a difference by doing what's right, by voting, by showing up, participating in our community, having friends from different industry, the diversity we have. So we can, sometimes when the world gets a little bit dark, that's when we all need to come together as a diverse community to find that light. And to find that light, we will find our humanity, and we will make it through and make this world a better place. So thank you.
Thank you. All right.
So,
any additional comments, Councilmember?
yeah, we're going to conclude. If Lokachap and Ya can come with our venerables to conclude on the small.
Honorable mayors and council members and Dr. Suli, ladies and gentlemen, please purify your mind to pray together to dedicate this special good deed and great merit to our beloved innocent Cambodian people who passed away during the regimes and the wars. And also we would like to pray this special prayers and the smoke that always translate to people around the world who passed away during the war in the past and up to the present as well. អនិច្ចាសង្ខារមិនទៀងឡើយ
ក៏កើតនេះមកហើយវានាងទៅកើតស្លាប់មេរលត់មិនសល់នៅសង្ខារអងទៅបសុខខាសង្ខារទាំងឡាយមិនប្រាំងព្រាត់មិននៅទៀងទាត់សុទ្ធអនិច្ចាកើតចាំងស្លាប់មេជាធម្មតាមានក្តីមរណាជាអវសានចុងចប់កប់ដុតផុតមួយជាតិមានសល់តែធាតមួយកូនចានជាតិមុខពិតយ៉ាងពិបាកស្មានមិនដឹងសុខសានឬយ៉ាងណាមានតែដើរតាមព្រះមានជោគមិនស្ទួងងក់ងោករកបញ្ញាដកនេះវរណៈធម៌5ប្រការរៀនត្រៃសិក្ខាដោយស្មោះស្ម័គ្រតស៊ូហាត់ពុតលត់ផ្លូវចិត្តឲ្យល្អពីសិទ្ធគ្រប់លក្ខណៈតាមរិយមៈឥតឲ្យអាំងទើបកាត់នេច្រវាំងវត្តដាំងបាន
May the soul who hate die during committed genocide and the soul who had died in this children world rest in peace. Anicca vada sankhara upadavayatam Jatvanera chandate sangvo pasamau sakha jirang vadayang kaya padavang adisa sadichoton Neradang vakalanggarang plaktakទាំងឡាយមានតនឡានាងស្តាំងជាដើមដល់ពេញដាយយ៉ាងសាកកើសមត្ថឲ្យពេញព្រៀបដោយម្ដេចមិញអេវមេវៃតតានាងបេតានាងឧបកាបតេទានដាទាយោទាយិកាទៅឲ្យហើយអំពីលោកនៃរមែងសម្រាប់បានដល់អ្នកដែលចែកតានទៅកាន់បរលោកហើយដោយឆ្នោឯងឯចេតាំងបតេតានតមហង្ខាបមេវសម័យចតោសូមអធិផលគឺផាជាទីកប់ចិត្តដោយអ្នកប្រាថ្នាឲ្យតាំងចិត្តឲ្យចូលឲ្យសម្រេចដល់អ្នកឲ្យបានឆាប់រួចរាន់តាន់ចិត្តសាពេពុរិន្តសង្កប្បសូមតម្រែត្រូវទាំងពួងចូលពេញដល់អ្នកចន្ទោបានរសោយថាដោយប្រចានក្នុងថ្ងៃ15កើតមនិចតរសោយថាបំណោសោតដោយកាមនីមានរស្មីដ៏រងរឿងកៅវិសេសអញ្ញាសក្តិប្រាថ្នាទាំងពួងឲ្យសម្រេចបាន
You want to say anything else?
Yes, I just want to thank you to everybody who spoke and who came to join us in remembrance today of the genocide. And we have a remembrance proclamation to present with everybody. If we can come down with those who came to join today to take a quick photo.
Let's have a report back from closed session, please.
Thank you, Mayor. We have no report tonight.
Thank you. Let's take up consent calendar, please. Okay, we need a motion and second on consent. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any public comment on consent? Seeing none, members, please cast your vote.
Councilwoman Sarah? Councilmember Mayor Sendejas? Is it a yes? Motion is carried.
Thank you. There's a request to continue item 17. Let's hear item 17 and entertain a motion to continue it.
Item 17 is communication from Councilman Austin, Councilwoman Sarah, Councilmember Rixodi. Recommendation to request City Attorney to prepare ordinance amending the Long Beach Municipal Code with proposed recommendations outlined in the feasibility of implementing contractor and subcontractor verification for additional wage protection and labor standards, and report back to Council in 60 days. Request City Auditor to conduct a comprehensive audit of all labor compliance violation reported by subcontractors over 5 years from the adoption of the Contractor Verification Ordinance, and request Intergovernmental Affairs Committee to consider adding language in the legislative agenda to advocate greater compliance enforcement by the Department of Industrial Relations.
Thank you. Councilmember Rixodi, you have a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to lay this over to a date certain, which would be the next council meeting, April 23rd, 2024.
Thank you. Is that your second, Councilmember Sorrow?
That's correct.
Is there any public comment on laying over the motion to lay this over? Okay, seeing none, members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
Thank you. General public comment number 1, please. Okay, I see there are 5 members of the public signed up to speak on public comment. Robert Evans, Cindy Sahagan, Lilia Ocampo, Sylvia Torres, and Herlina Haro. Please come forward. Are you Robert?
Yes, I am.
All right, please come forward.
I wasn't aware of the protocol, so I might come back if you'd be so kind to let me come back next week or the next meeting, and I'll be more prepared and
Certainly.
for the protocol, okay?
Okay,
Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Next speaker is Cindy Sahagan.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council members. My name is Cindy Sagun, and I am a CVI Program Specialist at Centro Cha. On behalf of the One Long Beach Community Violence Intervention and Prevention Collaborative, I am sharing a citywide community violence survey for Long Beach residents, which the flyer is being passed out to you in this moment. This initiative represents a historic opportunity to deepen our understanding of violence and its impacts on community in Long Beach through a comprehensive survey. As we implement initiatives and advocacy efforts throughout the city, it is important that our efforts are driven and led by community voices. This survey collection period started in March 26th, and we are extending the period to May 15th. It is available in English, Spanish, Khmer, Tagalog, and Khmer. And our ask is for our council members and mayor if you can share the survey to your newsletter and support us by reaching the Long Beach residents citywide. In addition, I cannot stand before you without speaking about the uptake of violence and gun violence shootings in our communities. We cannot address violence if the city does not recognize that this is a serious problem. Our communities are hurting, and every day we are losing lives to violence and gun violence. February 18th, Johnny Santos, 32. March 3rd, Adrian Hernandez, 20. March 20th, Yerner Ramirez, 37. March 26th, female, 17. March 4th, Mario Morales Moreno, 51. April 4th. April 14th, Nelson Martinez Gonzalez, 30. Enough is enough, and we strongly recommend an amendment to consolidate citywide funding for community violence intervention and prevention programs in the fiscal year 2025 budget. We would be remiss if we did not utilize this opportunity to reframe expectations for budgetary outcomes from the viewpoint of violence prevention funding that is sustainable throughout the city of Long Beach. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Lily Ocampo.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members. My name is Lilia Ocampo, and I am a health promotora from Centro Cha. Also a first district resident, a Latino woman. And the reason that I am mentioning that I am a Latino woman is because our Latino community has been victim of violence that doesn't seem to be addressed properly, satisfactorily. Our children are in danger of being kidnapped. On their way in front to school, street vendors are being killed while earning their living. Young women coming from work being killed. Children have to learn how to hide during shootings at the neighborhoods. In the community, families don't feel safe, not even in their houses, in their neighborhoods. They wake up to cars, broken windows, other parts stolen, women being assaulted and harassed on the street, and graffiti. So I'm here to ask you to do something more than what you're already doing, because it's necessary. It's not being enough, and the community lives in fear that a bullet is gonna just lay down in your house and kill one of your children, of yourself or ourselves. So please address this situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Sylvia Torres.
Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Silvia Torres y soy promotora de salud de Centro Cha del Distrito 1.
Good afternoon. My name is Silvia Torres, and I'm a health promoter at Centro Cha, and I belong to the 1st District.
Vengo a hablar de la violencia en mi comunidad, hablando de las escuelas se vive en gran perdón. Vengo a hablar de la violencia en mi comunidad. Hablando de las escuelas, se vive en gran peligro por las balaceras que hay a diario, en madrugada y por el día en la cual se arriesga a los estudiantes porque lo hacen a hora de salida de escuelas.
I'm here to speak in reference to the violence experienced in my community. Schools experience great danger due to gun shootings occurring daily. They happen early in the morning and during the day, which puts students in danger coming right out of school.
Hablando de robos a los carros, que les quebran los vidrios de las puertas para llevarse lo que hay dentro de ellos, herramientas de trabajo, cosas personales, pero lo más preocupante es que ya han habido muertes. ¿Con qué confianza vamos a seguir viviendo en nuestro vecindario?
As far as theft activity goes, cars are highly vandalized, broken into to steal what's inside, work tools, for example, or personal belongings. However, the most worrisome aspect of all is that murders have taken place. I ask myself, with what sense of security will I continue living in neighborhoods?
También hay mucha indigencia, gangas, de verdad que no vamos a de verdad que cuando nos vamos a dormir pensando en las balaceras o los robos de carros, el sustento de nuestro trabajo, se les habla a la policía y lo que nos dicen es que se les pongan microchips a las cosas de los carros para que ellos las puedan identificar.
There's also a lot of homeless or organized gangs. Every night we fall asleep thinking of all the shootings or car thefts that happen in our surroundings. We call the police and they tell us that microchips should be installed in the cars in order to identify and monitor them. And they also told us
Y la policía nos ha dicho que ellos no pueden hacer nada porque hay gangas que ¿qué seguridad nos dan como residentes? Me gustaría más apoyo de la policía para toda nuestra comunidad, para todos nuestros niños, adolescentes.
They've also had told us that nothing can be done due to gang activity. I ask myself, with what kind of sense of security or welfare is allotted to us as residents? I'd like more support from the police to help our community, our children, and everybody in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final speaker, Helena Haro.
Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Erlinda Haro, pertenezco al Distrito 1. Soy promotora de salud del Centro CHA y soy madre de 4 hijos.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Erlinda Haro, and I belong to the 1st District, and I'm a health promoter at Centro CHA, and I'm a mother of 4 children.
Algunas de nuestras preocupaciones que afectan a nuestra comunidad son la furia del conductor, violencia dentro y fuera de las escuelas, indigentes y personas peligrosas que están bajo el efecto de drogas o alcohol.
Some of our worries that affect our community are road rage, violence in and out of school campuses, homeless and dangerous people that are under the influence of drugs or alcohol.
Los parques, bibliotecas y alrededor de las escuelas no son seguras por peleas, pandillas, indigentes tomando represalias con balaceras, golpes.
Parks and libraries and its surroundings, which are not safe due to fights, different gang activity, homeless, retaliating, and shootings.
En las tiendas donde compramos nuestros alimentos roban todos los días. Mi esposo trabaja en una tienda y todos los entran a trabajar. Que entra a trabajar hay robos, entran niños, jóvenes, adultos, homeless, y eso no nos hace seguro y no nos da un buen valor a nuestra ciudad, a nuestra comunidad. Tenemos que tener mejores valores. El robar, el matar no es un buen valor.
The stores that we shop at for food pantry items, there's always theft happening every day, and that's not a good value as a community here in Long Beach. Our kids are being in danger, families, etc.
Algunas de las soluciones son tener vigilancia después de escuela, implementar mejoras en las luces públicas y semáforos,
Some of the solutions is to have security surveillance after school hours, implement improvements in public lighting,
ayudar a los jóvenes con problemas de drogas y pandillas, tener trabajos, deportes, arte para que los jóvenes se enfoquen en actividades positivas,
help the youth with drug consumption and gang prevention, have accessible jobs, sports, art for the youth in order for them to focus in good-natured activities.
tener leyes estrictas contra el robo, dar tratamiento a indigentes y personas con alcoholismo y que son violentos.
And also have stricter laws against theft activities, implement values, and provide treatment to the homeless and alcoholics, which may be violent in nature.
Tengo 4 hijos, 2 ya están en la universidad y tengo 2 en la preparatoria. Y estoy viendo mucha violencia en la escuela preparatoria y middle school.
Yeah, I have 4 kids, and 2 of them are in universities, and another ones are in high school, and I see a lot of violence taking place at the high school level.
Y doy gracias al transporte público porque es gratis para ellos. Es una preocupación menos para nosotros de padres y para ellos también.
And I think having public transportation, because it helps us have a more sense of security.
Y doy gracias también a personal de la escuela que a veces está en las paradas de los camiones para ver que se suban y pues no haya peleas y si hay algo pues puedan reaccionar más rápido.
And I thank all the security personnel that is there to look after our kids and make sure that everything is in order.
Cuando usualmente hay violencia en la escuela dentro o fuera, al día siguiente mis hijos ya saben que va a haber revisión de mochilas en la mañana y tienen que irse más temprano para llegar a tiempo a sus clases.
Whenever there's an incident happening the day before, my kids know that we also they have to be looking after their backpack search due to the incident that took place.
Creo que ellos deberían de ir más preocupados por aprender que por hacer línea para que le revisen su mochila o ver que alguien no le pida el favor de que le lleve algo adentro.
I think they should be more worried about school matters instead of thinking as far as their backpack search or somebody taking something in for them.
Me gustaría que los muchachos que están teniendo problemas con pandillas o están robando, se hablara con ellos, se les apoyara en las escuelas, que subieran sus grados para que ellos salieran a la escuela, fueran terminaran su preparatoria y fueran a la universidad.
And I would like for those kids that are in dire straits to receive as much help and assistance as possible in order for them to finish their studies.
Tenemos que tener cosas positivas para ellos y que sean buenos valores los que tengan. Y ya sea desde casa, también tenemos que dar clases a los papás.
And then we have to make sure that we instill good values to our children, and also parents should be practicing these values with their kids at home.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much.
Right. Well, that concludes public comment. Thank you all for coming down. And we hear you loud and clear. There's been, high profile last 6 weeks. Our police department's been very, very busy. Some high profile investigations and all of that. But we also know that, like King said, darkness can't drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And so we need to make sure that we continue to invest in the Washington neighborhood and some of these communities and invest in youth. And that's what we'll continue to do. Thank you so much. We'll now go to item 16, please.
Item 16 is a report from Community Development, recommendation to adopt resolution accepting the Fountain Valley Sustainable Communities Project exemption pursuant to Chapter 4.2 of the Public Resources Code, adopt resolution approving a general plan map amendment from Founding Contemporary Neighborhood to neighborhood serving commercial, and declare ordinance approving a zone change from 2-family residential district to community R-4-N commercial, which allows medium-density residential development pursuant to R-4-N densities on properties located at 4151 Fountain Street and 4220 Worley Court. Read for the first time and laid over to the next regular meeting of the City Council for final reading. District 3.
Thank you. Mr. Modica?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we have 2 items in front of you tonight that address the issue of affordable housing and some project updates and direction that we need from the council. But before we get to those are items 16 and 18. We want to spend a little bit of time talking about affordable housing in Long Beach, where we've come from, what all the efforts have been over the years, why we do it, why it's important, talk about some of the definition and how we create a city that has opportunity for everybody. And then also talk about some of these opportunity sites that we have in well-resourced areas and why these projects are coming forward. So talk a little about the importance and also just ground us a little bit in the history before we get into the actual 2 projects. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Christopher Kuntz, our Director of Community Development.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. As Tom mentioned, we're going to give you an overview of how we do affordable housing, why we do affordable housing, and where we do affordable housing. And then there'll be other staff that'll give you technical presentations. So every affordable project is a partnership that you see here at the table. So it's a partnership between our health department and community development. And Allison and I work on each and every one of those projects together. So what is affordable housing? Affordable housing is a safe, dignified place for families to live that have lower income and to spend no more than 30% of their income on rent. Eligible households in affordable housing are income qualified, either by community development or by the housing authority within the health department. And we're talking about folks that could make as little as $0. You know, some of our unhoused folks, more commonly folks that are at 30% of income, which is about $37,000, and up to $100,000, which may sound like a lot, but paying rent and feeding 2 kids can be a challenge even at that income. So we're here to help them, and those income levels come from the state. Affordable rents are determined based on area median income. So a little bit more about affordable housing. It provides housing for working families struggling to pay their rent, and it is the #1 upstream solution to prevent homelessness is to provide stability to low-income families. It produces new quality homes that revitalize major corridors. It removes blight by removing underutilized or vacant properties that serve little or no economic benefit to the neighborhood. It reduces overcrowding. Many of our underserved families or lower income families, you do what you have to do to survive. So they will double up, triple up. We have a high rate of overcrowding in our city, as well as throughout the region. Affordable housing provides safe, decent housing to the employees that we see all over our city. They might be working in the kitchen at restaurants we go to. They might be working in healthcare, assisting us and our loved ones. They may be working in local schools. And ensures that residents have income after they pay rent to spend at other local businesses throughout the city. So tonight we're talking about 2 projects that are in what are called high resource or high opportunity areas. So what the heck is a high resource area? So it's not up to the city. It's determined by a state group called the Tax Credit Allocation Committee, which we lovingly refer to as TCAC, and they define what is a high resource community. So that's not only based on income, it's based on resources. So those are neighborhoods that have the best schools, the best parks, access to employment, access to groceries, and a number of other factors. Some examples of high resource areas include areas of East Long Beach, as well as the Bixby Knolls, Cal Heights area that we're talking about this evening. So this map shows you every community is valued by the city and important, but in terms of TCAC and what's considered high resource versus lower resource, the darkest blue is our highest resource communities. The kind of lighter blue are high and moderate resource communities. And then that sort of greenish blue area is our lower resource communities. And then what you see in the checked hatching, those are highly segregated and highly impoverished communities that we've referred to as RECAP. So under federal law, we have an obligation to these communities to reduce segregation and poverty. And generally, that means investing in those communities, but not necessarily adding additional affordable housing because of the concentration of poverty as well as segregation in those communities. So where is affordable housing being built in Long Beach? We have an all of the above housing strategy. So that means we pursue projects all over the city, and we pursue all types of projects, small projects, large projects, mixed income projects, 100% affordable projects, market rate projects. So we are pursuing all over the city, but due to history, the majority of our existing affordable housing is located in Council District 1 and 6. So that represents downtown and sort of the Long Beach Boulevard corridor, where traditionally, not in the most recent history, but traditionally is where we exclusively put affordable housing. So this is just another way of looking at where we are today. So this shows you concentration of completed and restricted affordable housing units. So you see they are in a number of spots around the city, and some expected and some unexpected. But you also see a large portion of this map is in the gray color. So the gray color are census tracts that have none, affordable housing units or projects at this time. So the two projects we're going to talk about this evening are both in a gray census tract. And because we have an all of the above strategy, and because housing and affordability and all of those struggles are a citywide problem, a region-wide problem, every community has the opportunity to be part of the solution. And there's a lot of areas of gray in the city that have an opportunity to be part of the solution, even if they have not in the past. So just as a refresher, in 2023, the city of Long Beach was given a pro-housing designation by the state for enacting pro-housing policies. And the programs and policies that contributed to this included providing increased opportunities for high quality housing, ensuring fair and equal housing opportunity, which is what I just talked about, making sure there's housing at different income levels throughout the city, not just in one or two areas, avoiding the overconcentration of lower income housing in neighborhoods with low resources, and identifying mechanisms to increase production in our highest resource areas. So when we do affordable housing projects, who gets to live in them? Long Beach residents, our neighbors, our coworkers, and folks we interact with on a daily basis. We have a priority system. First priority is always given to households that have been displaced for some reason and displaced here in Long Beach. Second priority, which is where we fill most of our spots, is eligible households that qualify income-wise that reside within Long Beach. Typically, we don't get to priority number 3, but if we did, that would be households that work in Long Beach or are enrolled in school in Long Beach, but don't yet live in Long Beach. So Allison's going to talk a little bit about our approach to what are called project-based vouchers, which is part of how we finance and operate affordable housing.
Good evening. The Housing Choice Voucher Program, commonly known as Section 8, is for the purpose of allowing citizens to search for properties that are owned by private landlords. The great thing about committing our project-based vouchers is that they are able to move into areas where there is a contractual obligation to provide affordable housing, and they only have to pay up to 30% of their adjusted income. When they are in privately owned housing, they can pay up to 40% in the first year, and that can be increased as long as the rent is considered acceptable. These project-based vouchers, once committed to affordable housing, do allow a higher level of affordability. And HUD's mission has always been to place them into areas of opportunity. As Christopher has already shared, these are places in which the the poverty level is less than 20%. This will be our first affordable housing project-based voucher commitment in District 3. And while the area does not indicate that there is less than a 20% poverty level, it is much closer than any other of our current developments. Families that are selected and placed into project-based vouchers are already determined as to where they will go because we have those contracts. But after a year of successful tenancy in those buildings, they can also use that voucher to port it anywhere else they'd like to go. It is no longer a project-based voucher at that point. It can become a tenant-based voucher. So it is a way to get onto and into a subsidized program and then be able to use it anywhere in the country where the voucher is accepted. The commitment to the Fountain property will result in an estimated total of $8.8 million because it will support 18 households over 2 20-year periods. This map just simply shows that the walkability score for this neighborhood, while it is still not considered fully opportunity, provides a number of amenities that reflect the goals and mission that HUD has for committing these vouchers. It has great access to groceries, it has excellent schools, shopping, and other opportunities for these families to engage in and see market rate families who are successful in their living in the community. As indicated, we have one in Section 3, and as Christopher alluded to earlier, most of our housing has been along the Long Beach corridor and in District 1.
So, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, just hopefully you listen intently to every moment of these presentations, but in case you don't, I have some key takeaways that I hope that you will consider from the staff table. So the individual projects we're going to talk about tonight, they're not just individual projects. They're part of a larger citywide strategy to address our housing needs. Allison and I could talk to you all day and all night about why these projects are important, that they're meaningful, that they're impactful to the residents that we serve, that there's a moral imperative to do them. But even if you disagreed with all of that, the city is legally required to address fair housing, to reduce historic racial and income segregation, which is absolutely present in this city, and to create new housing opportunities. So we've been on a whole journey which regarding fair housing. When President Obama took office, Sean Donovan became the HUD secretary, and they came out with what's called the Furthering Fair Housing Rule. And we did a huge assessment that we lovingly call the AFH, and it showed that we've got some issues that we need to address, and that we need to address concentrated poverty, but we also need to open up other parts of our city to housing development. So he was replaced by Julian Castro, and we had a good relationship with HUD. There was a change in administration. Mr. Trump took over. Dr. Carson took over at HUD. He removed the fair housing rules. No impact on the city, however, because that same year the state of California enacted those federal rules as state law here in the state of California. So we've been under what's called the Affirmatively Furthering Fair Housing Rule every year. And then when President Biden took office and Secretary Fudge came into HUD, she reinstated the fair housing rule that was in place during the Obama administration. So on both the state and federal level, we are required to not just address overt discrimination, but as a city to take specific actions to create new opportunity in neighborhoods that are our highest resources. So again, upstream solutions include family housing and that are cost effective and critical to preventing homelessness. And I hope you've learned something in our presentation. So we're going to hand it over to the technical experts that are going to give you the technical presentation, first regarding the Fountain Worley project, and then we'll come back to help answer any questions that you may have. So we're ready for the next presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Senior Planner Amy Harbin will provide the project overview this evening for the General Plan Map Amendment and Zoning Map Amendment of this item.
Thank you, Allison. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council members. This item before you is a request for approval of a General Plan Map Amendment, zone change, and sustainable communities project exemption, which would facilitate consistency for a transit priority project that includes a 100% affordable multifamily residential housing project with 73 units and 67 at-grade parking stalls. The subject site is located at the dead ends of Fountain Street and Wehrle Court. Two properties encompass the site, which totals 70,000 square feet in land area. The larger parcel was used for a residential care facility for youth, which vacated the site in 2015. The smaller site is used for office space. All buildings and structures on site will be demolished to make way for the approved multifamily buildings as a transit priority project. The project site is adjacent to single-family and multifamily uses to the south, west, and north, and a small portion along the east property line. There is also a commercial use and large parking area along the south and east property lines as well. The physical project, which is approved per the city's homeless ordinance, is a 100% affordable multifamily project. As mentioned, the project consists of two buildings with 73 total units, including a manager's unit, 67 at-grade parking stalls, perimeter landscaping, indoor and outdoor common space, and wrought iron fencing with gates at the Fountain Street and Wehrle Court vehicular approaches. The approval was based on the project's consistency with the city's general plan land use and housing element goals, applicable development standards, and policies, in addition to the 2020-2045 Southern California Association of Governments Regional Transportation Plan Sustainable Community Strategies as a transportation priority project. This slide shows the west elevation where you can see both proposed buildings. The smaller building, Building B to the north, which is set back approximately 60 feet from the property line, is 3 stories in height and will have 22 units. Building A, which is the larger building, has 51 units, office area for services, and a community room. Between the buildings is an outdoor open space area, approximately 4,100 square feet in area, which includes a children's play area and community garden. Other common outdoor areas are 2 rooftop decks on Building A with about 650 square feet each, which face westward. The project has 36 one-bedroom units, 18 two-bedroom units, and 19 three-bedroom units, and is designed to assist developmentally disabled individuals as well as families, including larger families. The entitlements here today are the general plan amendment and zone change. Will bring consistency between the project and the city's general plan place type and zoning district. The physical project, which was approved in June of last year by the city's Site Plan Review Committee, is 100% affordable multifamily project. The project was approved for its consistency with the general plan land use and housing element goals and policies, in addition to the 2020-2045 Southern California Association of Governments Regional Transportation Plan Sustainable Community Strategy as a transit priority project. To provide a bit of background on site history, the larger part of the site was originally a home for youth. However, over the years, the facility had operational issues as well as other negative impacts on the surrounding neighborhood. Eventually, the facility closed in 2015. After the closure, the city began the process to ensure that the poorly operated facility with their negative impacts to the community did not return to the site. Instead, the city saw an opportunity to use the site to help accomplish state-mandated housing goals and to help the city address documented fair housing disparities in access to housing in high-resource neighborhoods, such as the Bryant neighborhood where this site is located. Therefore, in May 2017, the Long Beach Community Investment Company began negotiations with the property owner to purchase the site. Finally, a price of $4.2 million was agreed to, and in March of 2018, escrow closed on the site using restricted state housing money. As a result of using the restricted state housing money for the purchase of the property can only be developed with affordable housing. Affordable housing at this location helps the city address documented fair housing disparities in high-resource areas. The site, located in the red circle within the highest resource areas, is where families can access quality jobs, quality schools, and have better environmental conditions. Providing affordable housing in high-resource areas is a primary fair housing goal of the city and is required under state law. The proposed properties have a general plan place type of founding contemporary neighborhood, and the proposal is to change the general plan place type to neighborhood serving commercial, moderate density, consistent with the adjacent properties that face Anaheim Street directly south of the project site. This portion of the Anaheim Street corridor has been designated to facilitate a compatible mix of denser commercial and residential uses located along a high-quality transit corridor given the level of bus service. Planning best practices generally recommend the location of denser development within a quarter or half mile of transit, so expanding the place type northward within that catchment area is recommended. Zoning is proposed to change to CCN, which is our Community 4N district, that also allows residential uses consistent with the proposed place type and with the properties directly to the south facing Anaheim Street. The R2 district currently only allows 2 dwelling units per lot, which is not consistent with either the existing conditions nor the approved transit priority project consisting of affordable housing for families and developmentally disabled individuals in this high-resource area. The change in zoning district to be consistent with the change in general plan place type will not maximize the allowable density under the updated place type, but would achieve local planning and housing objectives by having a 100% affordable housing project near a major corridor well served by transit and in close proximity to jobs. There have been multiple opportunities for public comment on this project. The developer mailed out flyers about the project and knocked on doors to discuss the project with residents in early spring of 2023. A community event also held at the project site by the developer in May of 2023. Since the project involves a city-owned property, approximately 1,700 notices were mailed to property owners and tenants within a 1,000-foot radius on January 18th, 2024 for the Planning Commission hearing that took place in early February of this year. For that meeting, staff received 1 email not in favor of the project and 1 email with questions about the physical project. Another outreach event was held after the Planning Commission meeting on February 15th, which was hosted by Council District 3, and over 25 people spoke at that meeting. At the Planning Commission meeting, over 20 verbal comments, both in favor and opposition of the project, were received. For this meeting tonight, staff has received, I believe now it's up to 6 comment letters. Since the project was reviewed in accordance with the Southern California Association of Governments Regional Transportation Plan and Sustainable Communities Strategy as a transit priority project, a Sustainable Communities Project Exemption, or as staff fondly calls it, a SCIPY, was prepared for the General Plan Map Amendment and Zone Change pursuant to Public Resources Code Section 21155.1. At this time, staff is proposing that the City Council, 1, adopt a resolution accepting the Fountain Worley Sustainable Communities Project exemption, 2, adopt a resolution approving a general plan map amendment, and 3, declare an ordinance approving a zone change. And this concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you for the presentation. We'll now go to public comment. We have 11 speakers signed up to speak. Let's set the clock to 90 seconds. I'll read all 11, and then please come forward in order. Joey Shields is first, then Connor Weir, Aaron Foley, Karen Rezai, Jordan Wynn, Tara Severs, or Teray, or Terry? Tara. Thank you, council member. Elsa Tung, Charlene Wynn, Myron Wallen, Nicole Lopez, and Ismar Enriquez. All right, Joey, you're up.
Awesome. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members. My name is Joey Shields, and I'm a project manager with Link Housing. We are the developer of 4151 East Fallon Street. Link is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year as a Long Beach-based nonprofit affordable housing developer and owner. When we build in communities, we're here to stay and ensure that our impact stretches well beyond just affordable housing, but also through community development and bringing high-quality jobs and economic development to every neighborhood that we build in. Our approved Fountain Street development is a 73-unit affordable housing community for working families as well as people with disabilities. And we have key support in the business community as well from the Long Beach Unified School District, as well as letters of support that have come in prior to tonight's meeting, and as you'll hear throughout public comment tonight. And we are very excited that the city is bringing these action items to the table tonight to bring our development in line with the underlying zoning and general plan status. Link looks forward to continuing to partner with the city on other affordable housing developments, including District 3, and we look forward to that continued partnership. Thank you all, and have a great night.
Thank you. Next is Connor.
Thank you. My name is Connor Weir, and I'm a longtime District 3 resident and business owner. I think we can all agree that there's a crisis of affordable housing in this city, and few districts in the city are less affordable than District 3. Like it or not, the only way to fix this crisis is to build more homes for people who so desperately need them. I want to represent a group that is not here, that cannot be here tonight, and that is the hundreds of people who need these homes, people who could live near good schools, jobs, and transit if this development is approved. I'm here because of my personal friendship with one family for whom this is coming too late. I met my former employee, Amy Ovando, when she was 22 years old and newly graduated from Cal State Dominguez Hills. She lived in the 6th District in a 3-bedroom apartment with her mother and her brother, Joshua. I got to know them over a period of 3 years, working together, mentoring Joshua, and having all 3 of them over for multiple dinners at my home. They were some of the most generous, hardworking, and most family-oriented people I know, and they tried so hard to make it in Long Beach. Amy and her brother both got master's degrees at Cal State Long Beach. They got good jobs, but they had student debt. And the cost of living, especially rent, soared after COVID. They tried so hard, along with their mother, who was a caregiver for an elderly District 3 resident. They had 3 working-age people living in a 3-bedroom apartment. They all shared one car, and yet they still couldn't make ends meet. After running up tens of thousands of dollars in credit card debt trying to survive in Long Beach, they made the difficult decision to move to Tennessee. I lost a great employee, an elderly 3rd District resident. Pardon?
Thank you for your
Oh,
testimony.
time's up?
Yes,
okay,
sir.
thank you very much.
You. Next is Aaron Foley. After Aaron is Karen.
Hello, my name is Aaron Foley, and I've been a renter in Long Beach for the past 20 years, and I'm a member of Long Beach Residents Empowered, which is in support of these projects. As we all know and has been said, we need more affordable housing across the city, and not just in the areas historically with the lowest incomes, for the health and well-being of our entire community. By creating affordable housing options in the proposed locations, we are also providing pathways for the people to continue living, working, and going to school in our communities. By building affordable housing in better resourced communities, people have access to better transportation, schools, food, and the resources they need for a healthy life. They also are deeply invested in preserving these resources for themselves, their families, and others in their communities. We would like to support this project because of the affordable housing opportunity it adds to a city that desperately needs it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Karen, then Jordan.
Good evening. Karen Reside, the president of the Long Beach Gray Panthers, and we enthusiastically support this project. We have done several projects with Link Housing where we'd helped to support them through the approval process. Link is one of the most responsible developers that we work with. They not only build, but they manage, which can turn a building bad very quickly, and they manage well. And they continue to own, and they are here for keeps. There is a lot of excitement about these buildings when I told the seniors at the senior center that there was another building coming, another opportunity. So we're losing so many seniors because they can no longer afford to live in our community. I am one of those seniors. I live on the average Social Security check. A lot of the seniors that go to the senior center live on less than $1,200 a month. I'm one of the lucky ones. I get the average. If we want to really, truly invest in our seniors so they can age in place, we need to have more affordable housing projects. And we commend the development staff and Allison King. They've done a phenomenal job in working this process. This is the right thing to do, and this sends our community in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Jordan.
Hi there, my name is Jordan Wynn. I'm a housing and homelessness advocate for Long Beach and the greater Los Angeles area, here to speak in support of item 16. Over the years, I've stood here advocating for new affordable housing that is deep affordability targeting in Long Beach, and the proposed site at Fountain and Worley Court is a shining example of the kind of housing that we need. This new housing development will be targeted at low and very low income residents at 30 to 60% area median income, with 72 units available for families, including 18 specifically for folks with disabilities. Link Housing has been an excellent city partner in developing affordable housing options across the city, and the Fountain Project is a continuation of this great work. The zoning changes and exemptions needed to make this project possible will help serve the community at large with fantastic new affordable housing options. This also positions Long Beach and District 3 as leaders pushing forward affordable housing in high opportunity areas, something that can't be said of most California cities. This site has been primed by city investment to be able to address the growing affordable housing needs that Long Beach has, and breaks out of old housing patterns based on the vestiges of housing segregation and redlining. Link Housing was identified as the ideal partner to collaborate with. Nearly half of all renters in Long Beach are cost burdened, and our need for affordable housing continues to persist. Having lived just down the street from this proposed site, literally just down the block off of Fountain, I know that this new affordable housing development will bring great benefits to the local neighborhood, and that affordable housing options are needed as the surrounding community faces the specter of gentrification. I urge City Council to approve item 16 and to continue the journey to creating a Long Beach that is affordable for all its residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Tara.
Terry.
Terry. Is it T-E-R-E?
T-E-R-E.
All right, good.
Odd
Just checking.
spelling.
Just wanted to make sure the spelling was right on here. Thank you.
Well, good evening. My husband and I have lived on 14th Street for 53 years, a short block from the proposed Fountain Street development. You, like us and our neighbors, have seen the impressive plans. We are in favor of affordable housing, so why am I here to object? In a word, access. Have each of you been to this location in person lately? Walk around the footprint of the property and the adjacent streets? If you did, the problems of access would become glaringly apparent. Before you vote, come there first. See how lack of access will impact Bryant Elementary, students, teachers, and parents, the residents and staff of the proposed development, and the residents of our community. This lack of planning guarantees to create real and permanent traffic, safety, and access problems that will continue and worsen. Don't dismiss these objections as a not in my backyard issue. Our neighborhood has a colorful mix of people and is economically, socially, and ethnically diverse. We know and like each other. Delay the vote. Do your homework. Figure out how to make this project successfully accessible.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please, let's get through public comment. Next is Elsa. After Elsa is Charlene.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. My name is Elsa Tung, District 5 homeowner and principal at Boutique Urban Planning Racial Justice Consultancy Key Impact, and former staffer at Long Beach Forward, under which I partnered with the community and the city on multiple planning processes. Council members, don't we just love a good ribbon cutting? I'm proud to have just seen Mayor Richardson and Council member Dr. Suli Saro earlier today at the Wellspring Affordable Housing Project at Anaheim and Walnut. And Councilmember Duggan, in a few years, I hope that you get to experience the pride and photo op of the ribbon cutting of this Fountain and Worley 100% affordable housing project. As you heard from staff's presentation, it is the city's both statutory and moral responsibility to support not only new affordable housing projects, but also to affirmatively further fair housing. Central Long Beach bears disproportionate responsibility for new housing and neighborhood density. According to the housing element, which is based on the land use element, the LUE, which frankly looks the way it does because of the influence of racist classist NIMBYism from East Long Beach and Bixby Knolls. Back in 2017, 2018, those meetings were super, super ugly. The resulting LUE perpetuates racial concentrations of poverty and is an unjust densification of the already most dense and low-income parts of the city, while most of East Long Beach, defined as high resource, just as you saw from staff's presentation, remains suburbanized and untouched. So this is a critical opportunity for District 3 and the next council item, District 5, to—
Thank you, your time is up.
Thank you, to
testimony.
contribute to solving the homelessness and housing crisis. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Charlene. After Charlene is Myron. Is Charlene here? Okay, so next is Myron. After Myron is Nicole.
Good evening, City Council members and Mayor Richardson. I'm a member of the Long Beach Great Panthers. The Great Panthers are a senior advocacy group in Long Beach. Before I give the rest of my remarks, I just want to commend the city staff for their wonderful presentation. So the Long Beach Great Panthers have worked with Link Housing Group in the past to provide affordable and supportive housing development in the city of Long Beach for seniors in Long Beach. The Link Community Development Corporation's Fountain Street Apartments development in the Zafaria neighborhood will provide affordable housing for 72 apartment homes for families, including 18 homes for households in which one or more individuals have a disability, plus one property manager unit for a total of 73 homes. And important for us, there are opportunities for seniors to apply for housing. The Fountain Street apartment development will transform underutilized and dilapidated vacant structures on 2 lots that are experiencing ongoing blight and nuisance issues now. They will be transformed into quality apartments with on-site programming for working families. This project will make the neighborhood safer and improve the community. We urge you to support the development. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Nicole, then Ismar.
Good evening. My name is Nicole Lopez. I live on 14th Street, a block and a half away from the project. I've lived in my home for 20 years and 30 years in the same neighborhood. The project is great, no issues, but the project as presented now, issues. You have this packet in front of you. I provided a hard copy, and Amy should have also given it to you in the packet for this evening. Because time is limited, I'd like to address some general concerns, specifically number 1, number 4, and number 8 on the document. Number 1 is about the timeline. The Site Plan Review Committee a year ago was allowed to approve a plan despite incorrect zoning. The project timeline is backwards, regardless of the governor's directives to build affordable housing. It looks like a backdoor deal among developer friends. There should be a process, and the process should be followed, bottom line. Number 4, skipping down the general concerns. I did a public records request for the city of Long Beach, so I'm not giving you information that's not public. Anybody could have got this, and Link Housing got it as well, too. We were sold the project that the only access was on Fountain Street and Worley Court, and that's not correct. The assessor ID, there's 2 assessor ID numbers that allow rightful access from Anaheim Street through what I believe is the dialysis center at the front to the back of Worley Court. You have that document as attachments 2 and 3 in this packet. And then the last item I'd like to bring up is number 8. This property is outside of the city project to change zoning between PCH and 10th Street on our commercial corridors. I ask that you pause your approval tonight to push this project forward until you actually get some more information and really work towards having access from Anaheim
Thank you. Your
Street
time is up.
to the project. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, our final speaker is Ismar Enriquez.
Thank you. Good evening, esteemed Mayor Rex Richardson, council members, and members of the staff. My name is Ismar Enriquez. I am a Bruin, a Viking, and a dirtbag, and proud to call Long Beach home. I also humbly served as a Long Beach commissioner on the Board of Examiners Appeals and Condemnation. As an architect, I served the board of an American Institute of Architects and the California Housing Committee. After I graduated from CSULB, I lived next to Anaheim and Seminole for 6 years. I really enjoyed my time there and miss it, but it was too expensive for me to afford a larger apartment. The fund project not only will provide the housing for folks most in need, but it will also complement the neighborhood, and the scale from an urban lens will not tower over the neighborhood, and with a thoughtful landscape design, it will blend well with the city's urban fabric. This project will help the community already rent burdened have an opportunity to have a choice to live closer to jobs and amenities. Link, a Long Beach developer, has created many vibrant communities throughout the city and has afforded many of our residents the dignity they deserve. The project has been given a thoughtful evaluation by the Great Community Development Team and has received site plan review approval, as well as planning commission approval. I support our community and this project. I hope you will adopt and accept this project. Thank you.
Thank you. So I don't have you on my list. What is your name?
Frank Pryor.
Frank, I'll give you 90 seconds. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I looked on the internet tonight. The only meeting I could find was Long Beach, New York. It's at 7 p.m. and did it 4 or 5 times.
Understood. We're a much better Long Beach, but please continue.
Anyway, thank you for letting me speak. I own quite a few properties in Long Beach. I've owned over 100 in the last 51 years that I've been buying property. I own a couple properties near this thing. I'm not opposed to low-income housing or any other kind of housing. I think in the last 100 properties I own, the secretary told me I haven't raised anybody's rent in over 21 years. So several people have passed away, and that's when I will raise the rent when I re-rent a property. But I'm just wondering if anybody up there knows how many square feet this project is on the council. Because I went to the planning commission, not one of them knew. It's 100,000 square feet, and I believe there's like 55 parking spaces. There's no parking at the school. It's right next to the school. There is no parking lot. They close the street every single day, Monday through Friday, from 2:30 to 3:15. You can't enter that street because it's so crowded from the people picking up school. I'm not opposed to the project, except I'd like to see more parking. Parking's huge. That property will be there for over 100 years once it's built. You might want to consider that, or at least pause on this. I never got any kind of notice until it was the planning commission when it was already approved. So I don't know why I didn't get a notice before that. I would have gone down and spoke on it. I'm not opposed to the project. Like I said, low-income housing is fine with me. It should be 1 story lower.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Units less so they can provide for parking. That's all I'm asking, the parking.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, thank you all for coming out and speaking on this item. That concludes public comment. We'll now take it back behind the rail. I'm going to go to Councilmember Duggan.
So I want to thank Director Kuntz for the presentation. I want to thank everyone for their presentations, and I do want to thank the community for coming out tonight to speak on this. I think it's important to also recognize community development, Link Housing, Health and Human Services have been, I appreciate their work with me over the last year. We've done numerous site visits. I've stood on the corner of Termino and Fountain. I've stood in front of Bryant, specifically choosing the time when they make that street one way for pickup at the end of school. But I think Link and community development, they've spent a lot of time on this. We've re-engaged with different departments. They help flyer door to door with my staff to make sure people know what's happening on Fountain Street. Now, I know I can be detail focused sometimes, but it's been great working with everyone. When I was first elected, this is a project that I met with Link to discuss and learn more about. As has been discussed in the project description, this project started over 5 years ago. The city purchased the property with the intent and can't go around not building affordable housing. Affordable housing was a problem back then. Now we fast forward to today, and affordable housing has skyrocketed. That need is skyrocketed. So I'm happy that this is in the 3rd district, and we're part of the solution, and we're providing 72 families homes. Now, I also want to acknowledge the neighbors who have come out and worked with me and talked with me about this project. I think as we heard, there's a lot of support for affordable housing. It's not rooted in fear-mongering about it, but it's rooted in real concerns about the impact to the neighborhood and the quality of life for the people who will be living in the new development. We had a good community meeting in February. There were many, many things discussed, and I think there were concerns were alleviated during the community meeting. Concerns about line of sight, looking into people's backyards, the height of the project, what kind of security the project would have, what landscaping, down to landscaping. The concerns always came back to parking and ingress and egress. This was the community's focus, and this has been my focus. I've walked the property with Link Housing. I've walked on Worley. I go back on the weekend to make sure, I go back to look at it and look at traffic. So we've rehashed the parking several times, and this parking is not determined by the city. This parking is, I just want to make sure that we're correct with that. I'm correct with that. This isn't something that the city can regulate, correct?
Correct, council member. So we had a community meeting in your district, and just to reiterate, affordable housing projects, the parking is determined by the state of California, by the legislature. This project conceivably could have had 0 parking, which would have been a negative outcome. So even though we maybe lack the legal authority, we always try to use the power of persuasion and discussion with our development partners to get a reasonable or the maximum amount of parking in a project. So that's what we did in this case. The project does have parking. It's not as much parking as some community members feels it needs, but it's much more than is required. And these are low-income persons, 25% of which have disabilities. So we do not expect every household to have a car.
And again, it's 76 parking spots, correct?
67.
All right. In working with the city manager's office and Public Works, we are looking to change street sweeping. That needs to be done because we don't want people having to get up at 5 a.m. when the parking could be more impacted. So that is one thing that we're working on. But looking at the ingress and egress again, I know the traffic engineer, fire department has signed off. But during one of our visits, again, referring back to when I was there during Bryant drop-off, it was really it's difficult because they do close that street off to one way, and literally there are cars stacked up. So there is something that can be done with, I need the traffic engineer to go out and take a look at this. How many minutes are we at? I'm out of time.
It's your district. If you want to just conclude
Yeah,
your
I'd like to
line of
keep
questioning.
going here.
Yeah.
So council member, it's a coordination. There's work to be done for us and the school district. So with or without this project, as you've seen, as I've seen, as the community's seen, there is an issue about how pickup and drop off is conducted. That school is a great school, but it was built a very long time ago, apparently with no consideration as to how pickup and drop off would work at that school. And then we just work with our school district partners. So that closure that occurs during pickup, that's an informal closure. That's not a city closure of the street. If an emergency vehicle needed to access, they would blow right through the cones. They would do what they had to do. So I think there's some coordination for us to do, myself, Eric's team, your office, with the school district about how we can work together and make access the best it can possibly be there at the school.
All right, thank you. So Link has been working with our city teams to identify some off-site improvements that's going to help alleviate some of the ingress and egress concerns for the residents who live around the property and who will be living on the new development. Is that right?
Yeah, so we're working with your office and with Link and our public works partners to do things like Link has to do paving immediately adjacent to their project, but I'd like them to extend that out. And the surrounding community has some streets that are in desperate need of repaving and sidewalks and trees. So we're trying to do as many offsite improvements and benefits as a part of this project to bring that to the community. So that, we're here for a zoning change today, which we're legally required to do, but this is not the end of the story of this project, right? So this project still needs funding from the state, and then they, assuming they start construction sometime next year, it takes a couple years to construct it, and then it's occupied thereafter. So we had a community meeting in your district, and I know there were a couple folks that just didn't want the project, but most folks had very specific feedback and things that they wanted to improve. So we take that all to heart. I know the development team does. So I think you already mentioned it, but we're looking at like the tree species, and people want the trees to be as tall as possible and obscure the building. Well, then you want to plant specific species that grow faster and provide better coverage. The architecture folks didn't love the color palette. It's just paint. We'll change the color palette. So we're continuing work on some of those details based on the feedback we got from your residents, as well as on some of those hard infrastructure pieces to make the project as beneficial as possible.
Thank you for that. And I believe you had addressed at the community meeting the question about access from Anaheim. Can you address that, please?
Right. So there's a reference to access from Anaheim. There is a building on Anaheim. It's a continuous set of buildings, but you can drive through the building, the dialysis center, to access some parking back there. So if we had continued the prior use, which no one wanted to, that was a nuisance use, we may have been able to use that access, but because of some of the legalities of that easement arrangement, it's not going to apply to the new use, nor would it meet city codes and fire codes for accessing. So that's why we're with the access on Fountain and Worley, and we're continuing to, there were a lot of concerns about Worley, so we're continuing to look at that. Is that emergency access only? Is that day-to-day access? Is that during certain hours? Can we make some improvements to Worley? So those details continue based on the community comments, but there was no way to use the Anaheim as access for this project.
All right, thank you very much for that. We're going to continue with conversation about how we're going to improve ingress and egress on this. I'm going to continue to work with the community on this. So the last thing I'm going to say is for residents who are around the development as it stands right now, I am sorry about the condition of that. We are moving forward. It's going to be demolished. There's a process to that, but it is going to be taken care of. And you all, as neighbors, shouldn't have to endure what you have for the last couple of months. I want to thank Allison King and the Director of Health and Human Services for her work helping with the situation, and our Homelessness Bureau Manager, Paul Duncan, and Teresa Chandler. You did outstanding work for the situation that was there. So I'd like to make a motion to approve staff's recommendation, and I want to thank all of you for being here.
All right, that record is noted. Councilmember Kerr.
Yeah, just briefly, I want to thank staff for the presentation, because we know in situations like this, context matters. Our legal requirements matter, not just for this project, as you said, but for all affordable housing throughout the city. So I want to thank you for setting that context, because it's something we can continually go back to as new projects are on the horizon. I want to thank Councilwoman Duggan for her leadership, for her comments tonight, and her desire to be part of the solution. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just add my brief comments here. I don't see you. Okay, Councilmember Supinaw, but I don't see you here. Go ahead. The system is not
Okay,
working.
thank you for the indulgence. I just want to speak to this briefly. This is an area that used to be part of District 4. I represented it for 6.5 years. If you saw in there, the first youth home left in October 2015. I took office 6 months before then, so that was a heavy lift to resolving that issue for the neighbors, my first 6 months in office. I just don't think this project has any comparison to what was there before, but I understand the neighbors and not wanting to have anything closely resembling that back. That use at that time was a huge impact on the neighbors, a huge impact on the Long Beach Police Department. So I think that would resolve the time. So one of the things we did at that time was we repaved Belmont and Fountain so we could have that flow of traffic for the school that was tough before. So that's a huge improvement. And I think the dialysis group went in on my watch, Christopher Coons, if you recall that. But I did receive, because of my history there, I did receive a few questions just tonight. And I think everything has been answered, but Mr. Coons, if you could just reiterate that there was public outreach to the neighborhood, and in particular the school. It may not have been required per state law, but that did actually happen. And whether or not one individual did not receive something, there was a diligent effort for outreach on this project. Would that be a fair assessment, or anything you'd like to add?
Yes, that's correct. So we have done formal outreach on this project in a couple different phases. So just for everyone's benefit, this is Council District 3, but it was Council District 4. And when you were in office, we had many discussions with the community about the facility and closing the facility and making sure that the youth facility did not reopen. We then had the city acquired the parcel, and we did so using affordable money, so it had to become an affordable project. And we have had community discussions since 2017 on this project. There's been formal notices and those types of things, but not everyone gets their mail, or different things happen. So that's why in the most recent period, after this transition to Council District 3, we re-engaged with the community. Councilmember Duggan has had multiple community meetings. We've had meetings at the site. We've had meetings at other locations. So I appreciate, and I'm heartened when someone says they didn't receive notice, but we have done a lot of notice. We've done a lot of process over many, many years.
Okay, thank you. I think that's all I have. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Just want to take a moment and thank staff for that presentation. As Councilmember Kerr said, the context is key. It's important to know the history. I've been on the council for a while, so I've been aware and been able to follow the project. But I want to really recognize and appreciate Councilmember Duggan's attitude, because you inherited this project, and I love the amount of focus you've placed on neighborhood problem solving and laser focusing on what we can do today to help address some of the parking challenges today. I think this process has brought out a little bit of focus on the neighborhood, and I've seen how those things happen. I will also say I can remember when I was chief of staff to Councilman Neal, he inherited a project very similar. It was to take a closed down Farmers and Merchants Bank and turn it into, I think it was 61 units of affordable housing right next to Ramona Park. And there were concerns initially, but when you looked at the blight of what was existing with the closed down, giant mausoleum style like bank, and bank branches are very small now. When that closed down, there was blight on the community, and the difference when we built that site, it was a positive. It had a positive impact on the Ramona Park neighborhood. It helped activate the street, and those seniors. It became a fully senior affordable project. Those seniors became very active in the neighborhood, and so when I think about, I know we have some history in the city with respect to, we didn't get to this degree of economic segregation overnight. We know there's a history of policies, but what we can do about it today is think about how we can resolve the neighborhood level challenges, but think about how best, how we can make this a positive situation. There's a school across the street. Young kids will not have to drive to that school and get picked up. They're going to be able to walk across the street to go to school. And we know, and we hear stories, and Councilmember Kerr tells me, she's serving on the school board, she tells me how they'll have students who live in the neighborhood in a car to stay by the school so they can go there. So I think we just have to put it in context how important this moment is when you see the map that affordable housing is coming to East Long Beach. That's a good thing. And that we're doing it in a way that's not begrudging, and we're trying to solve neighborhood problems. And I think it's ultimately going to have a positive impact both on the neighborhood and the broader community. So I just want to thank you. The last thing I would say is Link Housing are good guys. There are affordable housing developers out there. Link Housing is one of the best. So you're landing a good partner in the community. They typically work with good community partners, and they have a great reputation. So I fully support Link Housing, and they've been very transparent about this project for a while. That said, members, please cast your vote.
Mayor, we need to, excuse me.
We have
Mayor,
three
Mayor
votes we
Richardson.
have to take, correct?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, so we're going to take the first vote, and then we'll queue up again. So we'll queue up 3 times. So let's queue up the first vote.
Motion is carried.
Okay, let's queue up the second vote.
Motion is carried.
And let's do the final vote. Great, thank you. So that concludes that item. We'll now go to item 18, please.
So which item it is?
I'm sorry?
Which item?
18.
18. Item 18 is report from Community Development. Recommendation to adopt resolution declaring the Long Beach Community Investment Company owned property located at 1131 East Wardlow Road as exempt surplus land, and execute any documents necessary to ensure compliance with the Surplus Land Act and state regulations. District 5.
All right, thank you. Let's have our staff presentation, please.
Good evening. This item is to adopt a resolution declaring the land at 1131 Wardlow Road to be exempt surplus land. Next one. A little history on the property. It's in District 5, 1131 Wardlow, on the corner of Wardlow and Cerritos Avenue. It consists of 2 parcels improved with a vacant warehouse and adjacent surface parking lot. The city, through its nonprofit public benefit organization, the Long Beach Community Investment Company, purchased the parcels and executed an agreement to negotiate exclusively with West Hollywood Community Housing Corporation for the future use of affordable housing. About the California Surplus Land Act. The Surplus Land Act requires all local agencies to offer surplus land for sale or lease to affordable home developers and certain other entities before selling or leasing the land to any other individual or entity. It is intended to prioritize reuse of surplus land for affordable housing, parks, and schools. and the surplus designation does not approve any particular use or entitlement. Government Code Section 54221 F1A allows property to be declared exempt surplus if the following conditions are met. If not less than 80% of the area of the property to be disposed of shall be used for development of housing, not less than 40% of the total number of housing units developed shall be affordable to households whose incomes are equal to or less than 75% of the maximum income of low-income households, half of which shall be affordable to very low-income households, and a regulatory agreement restricting the affordability of the units is recorded. Also, the State of California Department of Housing and Community Development must approve the city's declaration. The next steps would be to adopt the resolution declaring the land excess exempt surplus property. Then staff will submit the resolution to HCD for compliance verification, and then the LBCIC will enter into a disposition and development agreement. The timeline is approximate. HCD approval of the declaration will be within 30 days after City Council action. Site plan review and entitlement process will occur through the fall of 2024. Then LBCIC will enter into a disposition and development agreement with the developer, estimated to be end of 2025, and then construction could begin as early as spring 2026 or later. The recommendation is to adopt a resolution declaring the Long Beach Community Investment Company owned property located at 1131 East Wardlow Road as exempt surplus as defined in Government Code Section 54221 F1A, and authorize the city manager or designee to take any actions and execute any documents necessary to ensure compliance with the Surplus Land Act and state regulations relating thereto. And that concludes the presentation. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll go to public comment. We have two members of the public, Charlene Nguyen and Kim Warbeck. Is Charlene here? No? Okay, then Kim.
Good afternoon. I am here as a resident of California Heights, and I'm here to object to this development. This whole plan to develop this particular property there's been like a steamroller effect, and there has not been any engagement of the local community. And you guys have created a situation where it is a zero-sum game. There are winners, apparently the people who will be provided the low-income housing, and there are losers. And the losers are the existing community residents. And you have created this situation. You have created this situation by, I listened here to the previous presentation on the last development where there was significant community engagement. I know because I spoke with you, Mayor Richardson, and Ms. Kerr, Councilwoman Kerr, at the meeting that was held just a few weeks ago. That was an absolute farce. There was no opportunity for input from the community, and there were a lot of objections. It is ironic, as someone who's lived here, I'm a single mom, I'm providing for me and my 11-year-old boy, and I have lived in that community for 8 years. We are not Bixby Knolls. We are a very modest community. We have little tiny homes that are 900 square feet, residents who are on fixed incomes. We are, middle class to lower middle class. We are not on 10,000 square foot properties. And our community is impacted negatively. We have serious environmental problems. We are under the flight path. This location is under the flight path of the small airplanes from the Long Beach airport that are still running on leaded fuel. That location is within half a mile of the 405, downwind of the Wilmington oil refineries, and not very far from the 710. The air quality in that specific location is atrocious. You could wipe down the exterior windowsill, go back a week later, and you are picking up particles of tire, of tire and lead, and this is not the right location for the type of development that you are envisioning. I live probably about 4 blocks away from the location.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
testimony.
Please vote no.
Okay, we'll take it back behind the rail. Councilmember Kerr.
Yes, thank you to staff for the presentation. It was a really technical presentation and a lot of government codes and state requirements. So I'm just going to ask us to walk through it with some layman's terms, if that's okay. So in the last slide, you talk about how we want to be in compliance with the Surplus Land Act, which is what this item tonight is, Surplus Land Act. So public agencies, I know this from my time on the school board, anytime it's publicly held land, you are required to offer it to certain agencies first. So could you just walk us through, just quickly, without the government code, why a city-owned property has to be, go through this process?
Under state law, we have to go through this process. So this is a property that was acquired by an affordable housing developer. The city subsequently acquired it in their place, which gives us total control over the property and the ability to shape the future project, what it's going to look like. And it will take however long it will take to come to a decision and consensus on that future design. So the Long Beach Community Investment Corporation, which is the affordable housing arm of the city, acquired the property. So under the normal, quote unquote, normal surplus process, as you alluded to, we would offer the property to the school district, to the community college district, to the County of Los Angeles, and other government agencies. And then if they all said no, we would go through a different process in determining sort of a highest paying entity. But because this is affordable housing, we bought it with affordable housing dollars. It will be a future affordable project to be determined. We're exempt from that process. But we're only exempt from that process if council takes action on this item and declares the property exempt under the Surplus Land Act.
Great. And the two projects, this site and the project that was proposed in the previous item, we know that's way farther along in the process. I think 2017, you said, is the first date that the previous item had started. So we know that this act tonight is at the very beginning of a process. Can you just speak to us of what we can expect with next steps for the process after a vote is taken tonight, if it passes?
Sure. So there's sort of two different paths that will happen on parallel. So we had a well-attended community meeting in your district. You were there. The mayor was there. We've had other community discussions with Cal Heights Association and others. The design team from the housing developer, they're back in studio making changes to the design of the project, and that takes not years, but months to do that work. And I think we'll come back with a project that looks different. It will still be a housing project, but we got a lot of feedback about design and we take that to heart. So that will happen over the coming months. Then there would be more community discussion. We would show the updated design. And then at the point that the city feels ready, we would start the formal review process, which would include formal review by Planning Bureau staff. So at the same time, this project's not funded, so it would go through the process of securing funding from the state as well as the tax credit process, which I don't have memorized, so Megan's going to tell us a little bit about how that process works.
Sure. So it's important to note, too, that in the affordable housing world, there needs to be a local lender who's investing in the project, and that is the Long Beach Community Investment Company. Affordable housing developer won't typically spend any money on a project until they know they have the support of a local lender. So once that happens, and only then, will a developer go through the entitlement process, which has not even yet begun. the developer has not formally submitted their entitlements package to planning. It is forthcoming, and there will be a public process after that. But in the meantime, the LBCIC Long Beach Community Investment Company's job is to be the first money in so that the developer can then leverage those funds to acquire county, state, and federal funding. So the next steps will be to, for the developer, with the support of the Long Beach Community Investment Company, to apply for those other state and county sources, some federal sources as well. And once those are acquired, they can then use the local, county, state sources to leverage the final step, which is tax credits. So it's quite a long process. It takes a good year to 2 years minimum for a project to get fully financed.
Great, thank you. I have no further questions. I urge my colleagues' support.
All right, thank you. Again, it's very early in the process, plenty of time, public review. This is the very beginning, and over time, you'll see a different project. It'll reflect some of the feedback, and there's going to be other opportunities for feedback, and I'm paying a lot of attention to this project as well. So thank you so much for the presentation. Members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
All right, that's our last presentation. We're going to go to item 19.
Item 19 is a report from Financial Management and Utilities. Recommendation to adopt and approve resolution authorizing the bond issuance and sale by the Board of Public Utilities Commissioners of senior water revenue bonds in an aggregated principal amount not to exceed $98 million citywide.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Any public comment here? Members, please cast your vote.
Councilmember, Mayor, I actually had a question.
Okay.
I just had a quick question on in the staff report, you guys talk about the equity lens that's part of the the rate stabilization fund. I just was hoping that you all could just kind of put in plain language why you talk about the equity lens. You know, sometimes I'm an epidemiologist. We don't do the financial portion, and it's written in financial legalese, and so I was just hoping that you kind of codify that for me.
Kevin Riper, Finance Director. The equity lens for the rate stabilization fund, and indeed any cash reserves of the water utility fund, or for that matter, any utility, any cash reserves come from ratepayers. And if the cash reserves that come from ratepayers sit idle in a rate stabilization fund or any other fund, then they can't be used for other purposes like operations, like capital improvement, and they just sit there. And so we're not, while the bond indenture allows for a rate stabilization fund, the Utilities Department is not proposing to put any money into it, because that money would be ratepayer money that would just sit idle, and water utility rates would be higher than they need to be if there isn't any money put into the rate stabilization fund. So the idea is to minimize the amount of cash that is extracted from water utility ratepayers and thereby keep rates as low as possible.
And just for clarification, so, because I know you said you're not, I'm going to repeat back to you what you just said to me. So the rate stabilization fund, like you said, is meant to not be extractive, right? So, because I think you've talked about in the past the idea that we use the funding for these kind of capital improvement projects or capital investments, right, over time, so you don't have ratepayers right at this moment in time, right, having to fund all of the money for things that are going to be used in perpetuity. So is the idea that this rate stabilization fund is a mechanism that allows us to do that?
The second thing that you've mentioned is actually the reason for the bond issue in the first place. With the Utilities Department selling these bonds, assuming council approval tonight, that will provide capital money upfront from bondholders to build the capital projects, and the water utility doesn't have to raise rates so high to generate cash to pay cash for the capital improvement projects. So that's the rationale for selling bonds in the first place. The rate stabilization fund is just kind of an appendage that the rating agencies like to see, and that's why we're not funding it, is to keep rates lower.
Thank you for that.
Okay, thank you. Members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
Okay, we'll do 20, please.
Item 20 is report from Health and Human Services. Recommendation to receive and file a presentation on the COVID-19 after action report citywide.
Okay. We have, let's see, we have a motion. Is there a second? There's a second. Is there any public comment here?
No comment. I mean, they're doing a presentation.
So this was an item that was brought to the City Council, and it was asked for a specific presentation. So this is one that we're prepared to do tonight. We can also push it to another meeting if you'd like, or Mr. Mayor, if you'd like to get
I'm
to
going
the
to
other.
defer to Councilmember Uranga. Do you want to move forward, or you want to wrap it up tonight?
Well, we can put it for another night.
Okay. So we'll take. Do you need to make this presentation to council?
This was specifically requested by a member of the City Council and
okay.
approved by everybody to have us
All right.
come and do the
So
presentation.
we'll just continue to another date when we have more members and take it earlier in the agenda. Okay, so let's have a motion.
I think it's important to have a full council meeting for such a report.
Right. So let's entertain a motion to continue it to the next time it's available. You don't have to pick a date. Staff, work with staff afterward.
Okay, so we are going to lay this over to a future council date that's not more than a month from now.
Great. All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any public comment on the new motion? Seeing none, members, please cast your vote.
Motion carried.
Okay, next is item 21. There's no presentation requested here.
Item 21 is report from Police Department. Recommendation to adopt resolution to execute a contract with JSMD Sigma in a total amount not to exceed $200,000, District 1.
Okay, I see it's moved and seconded. Any public comment here? Members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
Thank you. We'll now go to 22.
Item 22 is report from City Manager. Recommendation to approve ordinance amending Section 3.80.261 of the Long Beach Municipal Code to reduce the cannabis cultivation tax rate and adult use retail tax rate and add provisions for the pilot tax credit program read and adopted as read citywide.
Thank you. I see it's moved and seconded. Any public comment here?
There's
Edgar
one.
Cruz, please come forward. Is Edgar Cruz here? Going once, going twice. Oh, this is Edgar Cruz. Got it.
Honorable Mayor, esteemed members of City Council, and fellow citizens, as you may already know, my name is Edgar Cruz, and I stand in partial support of the proposed amendment. While these measures might lighten some financial burdens, they compel me to question the true motivations behind our equity programs and who really benefit from these ordinances. Long Beach is celebrated as a hub for creating and supporting small businesses, yet the cannabis industry, a key contributor to our economy, faces closures and challenges indicating a neglect and systemic support. It's concerning that since the inception of our equity program in 2018, not one true equity business has been successfully launched despite significant state grant funding intended to support these initiatives, and none to even benefit these initiatives designed for operational businesses. Additionally, there are growing concerns regarding the leadership and effectiveness of the OCO. What steps are being taken to enhance this office functionality and its support for equity initiatives? In 2021, the city proudly introduced ordinances for new license types to expand and diversify our industry. Yet despite legal provisions that these ordinances take effect 30 days after post-passage, they still remain inaccessible to the public, stalling progress and potential. Also, the city's failure to apply for GoBiz grant funding this year, which is instrumental in supporting cannabis equity programs, signals a potential abandonment of these initiatives. This lack of action leads me to fear that the equity program may slowly die out, rendering the time, energy, resources, and hope that many of us have invested a waste. This is deeply concerning for not those who've only already failed to launch a business due to the hurdles, but also for those who were dissuaded by the city's lackluster support. What specific actions has the City Council taken to transform equity from a mere buzzword into a practical reality within our cannabis industry? As we are ensuring that are we ensuring that the pilot tax program isn't being disguised as an already failed incubation plan, just to say that you guys care about us, but just not as much as those that are already failing to pay their taxes? As committed member of this community, I need more than pump fake ordinances, AA leadership talks, and pointless pilot programs to feel supported. I need to see real actionable support that positively impacts those of us facing these challenges daily. I urge you to consider these critical issues serious or just shut the whole program down. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Members, please cast your vote.
Motion is carried.
Thank you. That concludes the agenda. We now have general public comment number 2. We see no members of the public signed up to speak. And now we'll have any final announcements. Go ahead, Councilmember Superintendent.
Okay, thank you,
For some
Mayor.
reason, the queue system isn't working. Let's. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, well, I'd like to invite everyone out this Saturday to Prisk Elementary for their fundraiser, the Prisk Pancake Breakfast. That's at 8:30 a.m. at Prisk Elementary. And then at 9 a.m. at Stearns Park, we have the Girls with Game celebration for the girls in Little League Baseball. And they'll each receive a t-shirt and a batting glove courtesy of District 4. And speaking of young girls, I'd like to give a shout out to my granddaughter Kayla, who made me this lovely necklace, and I told her I'd be sure to wear it at the council meeting. So thank you, Kayla.
Thank you. Councilman Rosario, were you trying to queue?
Yes, I just wanted to share that AOSC 7 has a Earth Day celebration neighborhood cleanup this Saturday, April 28, 8:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. on 1020 Gaviota. Thank you.
Councilmember Ricksody.
Yes, I'd like to invite everybody out to the DeForest Park Neighborhood Association meeting on Thursday, April 18th from 7 to 8 p.m. That's held at the DeForest Park Clubhouse at 6255 DeForest Avenue. I would also like to invite everybody out also to DeForest Park to the DeForest Park Earth Day celebration. That will be on Saturday, April 20th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. It will also be held at the DeForest Park Clubhouse, 6255 DeForest Avenue. We'll be having fun with pickleball, and I believe they're doing a butterfly release. And then lastly, on Monday, April 22nd, I invite you all out to the Collins Neighborhood Association meeting. That is virtual. If you need any additional information about any of these events, please contact my office at 562-570-6137 or email us at district9@longbeach.gov.
Thank you. Councilmember Kerr.
Yes, this weekend I invite all residents to the Expo Arts Center at 4321 Atlantic for the African American Cultural Center of Long Beach's local artist showcase this Friday, April 19th from 5:30 to 8:30. While their art will continue to be showcased throughout the month, on Friday you can have a chance to meet the featured local artists and listen to the live panel discussions. Also this weekend you can continue to support the arts with one or both of 2 author events at Kubo Long Beach. On Friday the 19th, join Annabelle Tomatich to discuss The Mango Tree, her memoir of fruit, Florida, and felony. And Saturday, April 20th, Naomi Hirahara and illustrator Sarah Demo-Taverte for a book signing on their work, A Children's Introduction to Asian American Pacific Islander History. Lastly, you can choose to support local small businesses and vendors at 1 or 2 pop-up events at Long Beach Exchange. On Saturday, the 20th, you can bring your 4-legged friend to celebrate National Pet Day from noon to 5. Or on the 21st, a variety of hands-on activities at the Earth Day Market from noon to 5. Thanks so much, and we'll see you out in the community.
Thank you. Councilmembers Zendejas.
Please join the Wilmore City Heritage Association for their monthly community meeting on Wednesday, April 17th from 7 to 8:30 at the Bembridge House. For more information, please email wilmorecity@gmail.com. Also, please join the Washington Historic Association community for a virtual meeting this Saturday, April 20th from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. For more information and the virtual link, please email Washington Historic Association at outlook.com. I also invite you to the annual celebration of the young child on Saturday, April 27th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The location for this event is the Billie Jean King Library at 200 West Broadway. For more information, please contact email eceprogram@longbeach.gov. As a reminder, this weekend, we welcome the Grand Prix to our downtown Long Beach. I invite everyone to visit gplb.com for more information and join us this weekend. Lastly, but definitely not least, I invite you, all of my residents, to join me and my staff for our 2024 District Check-In. This is an opportunity to share important updates directly from my staff and my office to my residents. It will be taking place Thursday, April 25th at the Guidance Center at 6:30 p.m. I hope to see everyone there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all. Have a great night. Meeting adjourned.